Welcome back to Boomer's Playground, and today we'll be going over coding exercise 29 from the Colt Steele Web Developer Bootcamp. We have gotten into objects now. Objects are a pretty integral and important part of JavaScript and how you kind of hold your data. So this is when the stuff starts to get kind of fun, and then once we get into functions, that's when you have like the most fun. So let's check this guy out. So it's time to practice creating your own object literal. Please define a new variable called product. All right. And so again, remember from a couple videos ago, objects and arrays, you usually just want to use const for them. Again, we can add to an object that is a const, and we can add to an array or remove from both of those things. We just can't reassign the variable name. So still use const. That's what you'll want to use for this. So, all right. So we have an object, and you can tell it's an object by the squiggly brackets. That's what denotes that this is a JavaScript object. And then we need to add a couple things. So there's 3 different ways that we can do this. So we could literally just, super easy, do gummy bears, do in stock is it true, and you'll notice that, oh, hold on a second, we'll do price, and then do 199, and then we'll do flavors, and that will be an array. Great, apple and cherry. So a couple things. You'll often hear of an object as key value pair types. So the thing on the left is the key, and then that's the value. So why this is relevant, I guess, is if we do this, the way you'll often have this, and I'm like, okay, well, what if I wanted to show like a card on a website? Well, I would need the name. I would need if it is in stock, I would need to know what the price is. And so what you can do is you can just do the object name, which is product, and you can see we get it all right here. And then you just do whatever the key is. And what it does is it goes in, it grabs this, and it gives you the value. So you'll see we got gummy bears. And then if we were to do product dot in stock, we'll get true, and so on and so forth. And so this is kind of important because one, we want to grab the value. Also, you could do in stock like that. So you can use dot notation, or you can use square bracket notation. There are a couple nuances to this, but you'll get through them. I don't want to dive too deep into them and get off the topic here. But this right here should satisfy the test. And again, they're just key value pairs. Okay, cool. So that did. So that's one way to do it. The other way you can do it is, let's say you don't know what the values are yet. You know you want a name, you know you want in stock status, a price, and some other things like sizes or colors or flavors. So what you can do is, we know it's a product, so we can just create our object, no big deal. And then we can do just kind of like how you were with arrays, where we could target a specific item in the array and change it. We're essentially doing the same thing here. We're saying, hey, find the name key value and set that equal to whatever I'm telling it right here. Now, we actually don't have that in here, so it's just going to add it. And so we could just continue, we could continue to do the same thing. So like here, we have our in stock. Here we have our price. Here we have our flavors, and we can still just do what we have been. And here we got 199. And here we have an array of flavors. Grape, apple, and cherry. And I do want to, let's make sure it passes first. And it does. So some of you who are like really focusing on the details, you may have noticed or be asking yourself, well, why don't we have the comma after these? And the reason is we're not actually creating all of the values at one time. So this is literally just one line of code that's doing one thing. Whereas before, when we were actually doing it in here, you need to have the comma to show like, hey, here's going to be the next key value pair. So, but that's also why I'm showing you the 3 different ways you can do this. So that was one way. This is the second way. And then we can do the last way, which is usually not as common because, like I said, there are some nuances that I won't go too far into. But essentially what it is if you have a variable name that you're trying to use for this, so like here we have price. I'm just going to finish this to make sure that it passes. So here we have price, and we have it as a string. But let's say we had a variable up here, which is like, product thing. So here we could not use product thing because product thing is not on the object. You can only use dot notation when it's something that's actually on the object, which is why we could do name, we could do price, because those are things on the actual object. When you use the square bracket notation, you usually do this because you're using a variable. So product thing will end up being the string of price. This is what we had earlier, but that's why you won't see square bracket notation very often unless you're using variables like this. So, but I did just want to show that you still could do it. So let's make sure this passes. And it did. This one's a little shorter, mainly for the reason that I could probably spend an hour long talking about objects, and I don't want to because that's not why you guys came here. So I hope you guys learned something today. Those are the 3 ways to create objects. And actually, let me just, I was going to comment all this out, but I won't now. But those are going to be the 3 ways that you can do it. They all passed. We're all good to go. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Otherwise, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.